Day 2, Fluid Links Advent Calendar from this here podcast, Doctor Who, Radio Free Skaro. Here is today's question from Slam Campbell off of Blue Sky. If you could
I know of this man.
Yes, you do. If you could take any one-off villain from Classic Who to get the modern revamp and spotlight treatment, who would it be, and what would you like to see done?
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I know. How about Omega? Except he's a giant CG monster that disappears.
Technically not a one-off.
Omega was not a one-off.
Yeah. That's true.
Disqualified.
What about Sutek? Except he's a giant CG decrepit dog that's apparently been hanging all around the TARDIS for the last 50 years. Is that a good idea?
Is it too obvious to say the ants and whatnot from the Web Planet?
No, that's a good idea. It'd be cool to see them get a revamp.
But is it too obvious though?
No, because you know what? You know what they would do. If you were to do it, basically redo the Web Planet essentially, or return to Vortis as a new Doctor Who story. I think it would be kind of cool if you make still, as they did in 1965, like all the costumes. Maybe with some CG elements to it, but they're all actual. Like there are no CG ants flying around. Well, maybe they are a little bit.
Or in the background, you could have that.
In the background, but you know, all the costumes of the Monoptera and the Zarbi are all still actually like physical costumes, and to make that in 2025 or whatever year they would make it, I think that would be kind of cool. And like done with the, you know, I watched a brief thing for Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein movie. And I had to laugh, thinking, we don't want to use any CGI. You're using so much CGI.
Everybody
Shut
does.
up.
That's nonsense. Whenever they say that, it's just BS.
But the whole boat in that movie, I've literally never seen the movie, but I've seen the 90-second thing. And the whole boat is an actual boat. Like that boat is real that they're on. And it's moving around, and they're actually like, it's not a CG boat and actually shooting it there. And that kind of dedication to the craft, I think, would be like kind of neat to actually do the Web Planet like properly, you know?
I do have a suggestion here, but I just to sideline tomorrow. I did watch. Chris reminded me that they had like sort of a 2 or 3 part thing on the making of the 2 Avatar movies, and what they did with that is every single performance thing you see, like, these things are obviously animated, but they don't change the performances. That's all the actors, right? But then they went into what they do with the props, where like they've got the props and they're using the real physics. They had to shoot underwater because it doesn't look right otherwise, right? Even though it's all animated, the physics don't go.
You can't use a real cow. You got to use a horse.
Exactly. To the point where they built this sort of, in Manhattan Beach, they built this sort of tank that they were in, and they had because James Cameron's kind of an engineer, he set up this thing where they would have different wave generation machines, so that they needed some sort of like a shoal. I don't know the terms. I'm not an engineer or know anything about the sea, but they built all the mechanisms to introduce that, and then modeled the water on the computer exactly on what they had going on in the water there. So that's why the water looks so damn real in those movies. Anyway, my idea is to do the Vord with the same idea. You keep them mostly rubber, but you got the faces a little more CG-ish, like add enhancements to that.
Yeah.
They go through an acid sea. Would that have to change the fluid dynamics?
Who cares? It's Doctor Who, the same Avatar.
That's true. It's
and the other thing is Robot to Death, my other hobby horse. Like, bring those guys back and don't change a damn thing.
I don't think you can
exactly
change
the same.
Yeah, I feel like they basically, like, you know, with the Kerblam Man and the Angel robots and Voyage of the Damned, I feel like they've already done more or less like conscious homages to the Robots of Death in both those.
Yeah, but it'd be really cool to have those guys in there just one more time on Kaldor.
Yeah.
You can change all the fancy rich people's outfits around and all that stuff, modernize that, but don't modernize the design. They're perfect as is.
Would the drug of choice not be cocaine? It was in 1977. For that would be a different.
I don't know what it would be now.
Yeah.
Fraxoan.
Fraxoan. Yeah.
They're not really the baddies. They're the tools of the baddies.
No, I know.
But no, I'm talking about something else.
Yeah.
Let me speak. They're not the baddies. They're the tools of the baddies, but I'd love to see redone quarks.
Okay, sorry, I thought you were talking about the robots. That's
quarks. What would you do with the quarks, Chris? Do you have any ideas?
Better mobility, I guess, would be the first thing.
Right. What about child labor? Do we still use children for? Is that a thing? Okay. All right. Okay.
When they're done mining the rare earth elements for technology, then they can go and play quarks.
All right.
Mobility and voices. The clarity of the voices could definitely use improvement.
Yeah, I never knew what the hell they were saying.
That makes me think, change the Dominators. Bring the Dominators back, but have them be even more argumentative. But B, those to change the costumes completely. Like, just completely revamp them. I don't know how, but just not what that is.
Right.
And you have to gender swap them. They have to be female Dominators.
Or one male, one female, whatever.
No, because they'd just be like an old married couple. It'd be like National Lampoon's Vacation : Dominators. You know,
the original Dominators are kind of like an old married couple to begin
they
with.
are. They 100%
absolutely.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Rago and Toba had a rough go of it. Let me tell you.
I suppose it'd be kind of not awkward, silly, perhaps, to bring back Quarks and not have Dominators.
We gotta have.
How about the Crotons? Speaking of Croton stuff,
there we go. Yeah,
'cause those costumes were just so bulky and they could do some really cool stuff with those. I'm sure.
Add small touches of CG, like the sort of screen part of them, and just have that like kind of animated a little bit, but subtly animated.
Yeah. They still sound like they're from South. Leave the hole, oh coach, leave the hole, learning hole. They still have to sound exactly.
They have to sound like cab drivers. Yeah,
they absolutely South African cab drivers. I think is very important.
I mean, that's villainous.
What would you do with war machines? Like there's
a temptation to make them too over the top high tech.
Like little tanks or something like that.
Yeah, like with a lot of legs on them or something like, like those Dalek designs with a bunch of spider legs, that kind of thing. I don't think you should. I think war machines are very much of the 60s. Like, I don't know, you'd have to have a period piece. It'd be like Fantastic Four for steps, basically.
Yeah. In a way, the cleaning robots from Paradise Towers are kind of like revamped war machines anyway.
Yeah.
Not necessarily well revamped, but
no. I don't think any of us want anything CG. That's what we're kind of getting at here, is that we want proper actual props.
No, I'm fine with some CG, just not over the top CG. Like, don't do it just because you can. Take it and enhance it.
Yeah, to enhance, not replace. Yeah, like, because I'm thinking things like the when like the face gets knocked off the Sarah android in Android Invasion,
right?
You could make that look a little less janky.
There's a garbage charm to it, but
or again, sorry, not the bad guy, but the actually, no, I was talking about something else, but I'm going to switch to the K1 robot and giant robot.
Here we go.
But that's kind of the same vein as the cleaners, the war machines, the Crotons. It's all kind of the same milieu. But the toy tank is what I was going to say. The Action Man tank from Robot.
You just want to make a bigger tank, because I'll make it a real tank.
I want to something that doesn't look like a toy, even though it wasn't actually a toy.
With like Peter Capaldi playing a guitar on it coming in.
I kind of want them never to touch the K1 robot
so.
again, because if they brought the K1 robot back, he'd be like head of a robot empire or something like that. And I just don't want. I just like him as a Frankenstein's monster, which is what he's best at.
Yeah, and just like the Quarks, he's not the bad guy. He's a tool of the bad guys.
Yeah.
I kind of want. We mentioned it last week briefly. Yesterday's Fluid Link. The Bandrel, except he's pretty much as he is. Except the Bandrel that we see in Time Lash is just kind of like a bureaucrat. Like he's just like there to negotiate and stuff. Like, that's not a warrior or anything like that. No, I would basically like just to see
same thing with the Morlocks.
Yeah, I would just kind of like to see the same Bandrel, sock puppet and all, except he's wearing like a suit and tie because he's a bureaucrat.
Because he's middle manager Bandrel now?
He's middle manager Bandrel, exactly. I think that's a Bandrel manager. A Bandrel.
What about the collector? We should have a politically correct collector.
A politically correct collector, I suppose, with...
An RTD2 revamped collector.
Oh, yeah. How would he do that, I wonder? Well, there wouldn't be 6 Sons on Pluto.